Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It's week 11. This week, it's going to be assessing infants and toddlers. Um, the readings this week, no textbook readings, but we have a handbook on infant vision development by Virginia Bishop. It is a great resource. It is about 40 pages in length, but it's wonderful to read some of the topics there. I will talk about it, talk a little more about it in my presentation. And then there are a couple of videos that we have attached in Canvas. The one is about the assessment of visual efficiency in babies and young children. It's about a TV. How do we do a functional vision assessment for a baby at home? And then there is Teller Acuity Cards assessment. This is Teller Acuity Cards are used to get the visual acuity for students who cannot be tested with letter or symbol acuity test. So there's a video on that as well. And then the activities, the two activities, one is the major assignment 2, which is your notes on observation from the Brody's videos that you saw last week. So whatever you observed, it needn't be any standard format. It could be a Word document, or it could be one of the blank forms that we attached for you last week. So you can just note down the stuff that you observed on the videos. Hopefully you would have watched the videos multiple times before you write the notes, because you just have to see the videos many times and you will learn something new every single time you watch the video. So make sure you've seen it multiple times before you submit the observation from those videos. And then there is a discussion post. On the assessing young children, so to be as a TVI, I haven't worked with babies less than 3 years old. So when you get a job in a public school setting, you're probably going to be working with children 3 to ages 21 years. But in some agencies like the Anchor Center for the Blind and things like that in Colorado, you do work with young babies where you have to go to their homes to assess and things like that. And so the idea that governs the provision for services for individuals with disabilities has two parts. It has Part B, which is 3 to 21 years, and Part C, birth to 2.5 years. So in a public school setting as a TVI, I've always been involved with Part B, which is 3 to 21 years. And so from the handbook, I'd like to point out a few things that I found really interesting, and it's important for you to kind of have that as a resource. One is the normal visual development chart in preschool children with visual impairments. That's page 33 of the handout. It gives you like at age 2 months, at 3 months, what's the development of the vision looks like. It's important to know this because for children with visual impairments, this needn't be in baby to 2.5 years. So you might see in your children, I mean, in children, in your students, who are like 3 to 21 years. So you might see the same visual development. So you want to make sure you understand what's the development process look like from babies to older children. And then there is a vision screening questionnaire in the handbook that I really like, because this questionnaire is given to parents, and parents know their children more than us, especially if you have a student or a younger student who you don't know anything about. This questionnaire would be a great tool to give, like an interview to give to parents and ask them to fill it out, because they know their child much more than what you would do, what you can assess in a school environment. And then it's important to consider, like how we talked about last week on the environments that we are testing, doing the FVA. We'll have to understand for younger children, home is the the best environment. So if you see in the video that is attached in the Canvas this week, you will see that they are assessing, the functional vision assessments are done at home, which is the most comfortable setting for the child, and they use the child's favorite toys, familiar environment where you can get the best vision efficiency. And then I have done a couple of assessments at home for younger children, ages around 3 years, before they even started preschool. So we go to their homes and assess in their familiar environments. And then the discussion this week is about the agency that kind of takes care of birth to 2.5 years through Child Find and things like that. So in Colorado, it's the Anchor Center for the Blind. So we get referral from Anchor Center for the Blind. And the reports, I always like to see the reports from them because they have these teller acuity where for younger children who cannot get who cannot say the words or read symbols or letters, we use these grading cards. It's basically black and white high contrast cards, and if you see in the video, they'll present it as many times to kind of get an idea about the child's acuity. And then at the end of the handbook, there are some articles that have been published. So some published articles. I would highly recommend you choosing one or two of those articles and read whatever that interests you, that you're curious about. Pick up those articles and read, because this will be a great time because you have access, that is the UNC library, to pick up these articles. So what you need to do is to go to URSA, URSA in UNC, and then go to the library, write the title name of the article that you're interested, and you can download the PDF. I say this because as a TVI, access to these articles, access to a library like UNC's is not going to, it's not there. So I would highly recommend you go to the library, pick up a few articles and keep it in your drive and read them. For use for your practice in your career. And I'd like to give a final note on the final FVA assessment. We've been getting a lot of emails on this. There are two options given to you for the final FVA assessment, as we understand that some of you may not have access to a real student with visual impairments. So the option one is where you will be conducting, if you do have access to a real student with visual impairment, you can conduct an FVA on a real student. But make sure you have reached out to the TVI for the student by now. So you need to have the TVI with you when you're doing the FVA assessment. So make sure you do that. That's option one. And no virtual assessments on that. I know some of your districts have virtual assessments, but as part of option one, we do not recommend you doing virtual assessment. So if you can physically go and do an assessment on a real student, choose option one. Otherwise, choose option two, where you will be watching a video of me assessing a student, and you will write a FEA report for my student. That's one part. And then the second part is we want you to get the practice of doing an FEA. So you can choose a family member, or and if you have access to a real student, you can choose to do a virtual FEA as well. So these are the two options for the final FEA assessment. And then but one thing I would highly recommend is complete all the readings. If you have a date before which you have to do the FVA assessment, just make sure you do all the readings necessary for the FVA and be prepared. As I said, that's very, very important. So if you have a student with CVI for the final assignment, make sure you complete readings or all the CVI assessments, understand, prepare yourself, get the materials you need or borrow the materials, and then do the assessment. And then most important, seek help if you need any, because that's you can have if you are available to get in touch with the TVI or as a mentor or anybody that you can think of, just try to ask questions that you may have on functional vision assessments, because no question is dumb. Every question is important for you to understand. So definitely reach out if you have any questions on the assessment. That's about it. We will see you next week. Have a good week. Bye bye.